Good morning and welcome to the Economic and Destination Development Committee meeting. I'm the new chair of the committee, Sean Kelly, councillor with the City of Belleville. And I want to thank right off the top former Belleville City Councillor Ryan Williams for chairing this committee for the last couple of years. Big shoes to fill. Ryan told me this morning he's a size 11. I'm a size 9, so I'll try to make this work over the next well, as long as I have this position with the City of Belleville. I want to welcome everybody to watching on the city's YouTube channel. Thanks for spending your morning with us on this 29th of April. Right off the top, too, I want to welcome a new committee member. We have with us Belleville City Councilor Bill Sanderson. Mr. Sanderson, thank you and welcome to the committee. And I look forward to a lot of your input and keeping us straight and focused over the next little while. Any comments, Mr. Sanderson?
Well, I'll certainly do my best, Chair, and looking forward to working with the committee. I know there's been lots of good initiatives that are already started and underway, and looking to help out in whatever way I can.
All right, thank you, sir. Attendance, let's go to Karen Post. How are we doing for bodies today?
We're doing well today. We've got quorum, so we can move ahead along the agenda.
All right, thank you. Number 4 on the agenda is disclosure of pecuniary interest and general nature thereof. Councillor McCaw.
I don't know if it is a conflict of interest, but I'm just going to declare it anyway on number 11 over the Quintilicious report. So, you know, it's questionable whether I need to do that, but I will just to be on the safe side.
All right, thank you, Councillor McCaw. Anyone else? I can't see everybody on the screen, but I trust someone would tell me if there's another hand up for a conflict. Okay, so Kat, is that your hand up, Catherine? Okay, no, sorry, okay. All right, thank you. You had a chance to review the minutes that were sent out by Karen. Any questions on it? We get a mover. Councillor Alsop, seconder. Blair Gamble. Any comments about the minutes from last month? All right, all those in favor? Approved, thank you. No correspondence this morning. We'll go to item number 7, deputations for the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board students report on survey results. We welcome the executive director of the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board. He's also on our team, Mr. Stevenson. Doug, take it away.
Well, thank you so much, Chair Kelly. And wow, is this ever a chair who takes care of business right off the bat? Little quick bit of background and context for this. I want to take you back to 2016. What a year! And one of our favorite projects, the census. And if we remember, our region grew only 2.1% compared to the province's 5% average. Okay, that's context number 1. At the same time, since then, Loyalist College has become our region's largest immigrator, bringing in over 1,000 international students to the region to study at Loyalist. But very few of them stick around. Okay, let's park that. At the same time, a lot of career-oriented positions available with our local employers. So that's a piece of this layered puzzle as well. So how do we get some of these international students to stick around, grow our population, fill those jobs? Well, as many of you are probably familiar, Bob Millard, through the business administration program, has a project you can go and you can pitch students to work on. So we went and we did that. We said to those students, how can the Bay of Quinte community engage international students so they want to stay? Because no one knows international students like international students. What are some of the marketing tactics we could employ? What are some of the lifestyle facets of international students that we have to consider? So with that background and context, I give you Team 11 BOQ from the Loyalist College Business Administration Program to present their findings. Team, take it away. And they're just loading up here. It's a team of a few. So they're going to load up and then they're going to take us through.
Hello, everyone. Just give us a minute here. Bear with us, please. I'm hoping my whole team will join us. We'll do a little head count really quickly. Can you all hear me? Yep. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Okay. So I was panicking a little bit because I didn't have access, but I see how it gave us access now. So we should be good to go. All right. Just waiting for John.
I'm here.
John, okay, I see you. Okay, we're ready to go. And there's Bob. Okay, thank you so much for your time. Sorry, guys. Okay. First, I think we all just wanted to take a minute to introduce ourselves really quickly. My name is Allison Parrott, and I'm an I'm a domestic student. A little bit nervous.
Hi, I'm John Long, and I'm a domestic student as well.
Hi, my name is Vivek Gajjar, and I'm an international student.
Hello, I'm Ebenezer Teklesky, and I'm a domestic student.
Hello, everyone. I'm Divyesh Panderi, and I'm also an international student.
Okay. Hello, everyone. On behalf of our entire team, thank you to the committee for your time and consideration. We are here to introduce the International Student Engagement Initiative. This presentation was prepared for the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board. Please join us for the next few minutes as we discuss our presentation. Here is our presentation outline where we will be introducing our topic of discussion. We are here to talk about the rate of international student engagement in this region. We will break down our project background, purpose, objectives, and define the engagement and interests of the students. We will be presenting a proposal of engagement opportunities we have developed. We have our conclusion and a brief recommendation on the next steps for this project, as well as our acknowledgements, and we ask that you please save your questions until the end. I'm going to hand things over to John.
All right, thanks, Allison. So we're going to get right into the background right now. So there is a disconnect locally between the Bay of Quinte community and international students, and me myself as a Loyola student, I've seen that firsthand. There's also a lack of awareness of job opportunities in the local area for international students, as they need A or B category jobs for the most part to get permanent residency. That's a big factor. And now we're going to get into the retiring workforce in Canada. As Canada has a negative population deficit without immigration, we need international students to stay in the area. And this has led to recruitment challenges locally for jobs, for employers looking for skilled workers. So now if you look to the right, we're getting into the purpose and description. So the purpose and description is to develop programs and marketing strategies that will engage international students in the Bay of Quinte area. So we had 4 objectives with this. The first was to define engagement, the second to define interests, the third to develop proposed programs to engage international students, and the fourth to develop marketing and social media programs. So now we're going to look at the survey we conducted. So we actually surveyed 118 international students from Loyalist. There was a series of 18 questions that we asked, ranging from permanent residency, transportation, fields of study, social media, gender, and many more. So now we're looking at engagement. So the first thing is introduction to career opportunities. There was actually 57.6% of all surveyees responded that was one of their main areas. Another was events for new international students, and these events are such as like mixers and stuff so that they can connect with the local community. And then there was also cultural events, which does tie into the more variety of cuisine. So like Diwali celebrations or other religious celebrations or food festivals. So with interest, it's not a big surprise that nature is a major factor, as we do live in a rural area. You got walks such as Potter's Creek or beaches such as Sandbanks. And this actually ties into fitness, the next one, which was the second most. And that makes sense, as we are a rural area, there is tons of walking and hiking or places to run, as there are all lots of trails in the city even, such as Wicks Park. As we do have some urban areas, you can even go to gyms to work out. Another thing was nightlife. We do have some nice restaurants when it's not COVID, as it is. And then there's also cultural events, which we are going to talk about later in the presentation. And now I'm going to pass you off to the capable hands of Vivek.
Thank you, John. With the engagement opportunities, we are looking for employment first. And the foremost, as me being an international student, I feel there is a serious disconnect among international community. So how we would like to move forward by hosting career fairs specific to student fields of study. We would like to showcase their skills, experiences, passion, and career objectives, and what experiences they have from their home country. We would like this event to be a chance to showcase career opportunities more aligned with their field of study. All of this can be easily adapted to COVID regulations. With our survey, we found out that 14% of students have taken business and finance, whereas 25% students have taken science and technology, and 12% have taken skilled trades. We also saw a growing demand for medicines and human sciences in the region at 14%. Me being an international student, I have noticed there is a serious need for workshop tailored to the needs of international students. Our workshop design will focus on international graduates. It'll be designed to help introduce goal, career-specific resources, prepare them for their chosen industry, provide a networking opportunity, one-on-one career counseling. This workshop will act as a guide and direct pathways to all the international students to find employment in their field of study. With the engagement opportunity, we feel there is a serious lack of cultural events. There is room for development for religious celebrations or events to be hosted locally. These events would help to welcome international students and act as an opportunity for the community to learn more global awareness. To provide a better feeling of home, we will host an international movie night showcase films from around the world, moving or opportunities to bring everyone together, as well as the recent event that made headlines, not just in the international community, but also in the entire Canada, was the flag hoisting ceremony that was hosted by Loyalist College. This made a lot of noise. These types of events are not just an opportunity to help welcome international students community. It is an opportunity to bring the entire Bay of Quinte region together to celebrate who we are. And I will now hand things over to Ebenezer. Thank you.
Thank you, Vivek. So with food being essential in the culture of international students, we've learned through our research that this deserves to be a standalone focus of our engagement opportunities. We're suggesting an event with the theme of every home tastes different. And for this event, we propose to host a cooking competition among the community. This event will introduce new cuisine from around the world. We could have community sponsors and provide a chance for everyone attending to try free food samples. We think this is a great way to celebrate how different everyone's taste in food can be, and it creates a very inclusive atmosphere. So the main categories of interest that stood out to us were nature, fitness, nightlife, and cultural events. Here we have a few suggested ideas of activities we could create that would increase engagement for international students. With the Bay of Quinte being in a rural area, nature plays a huge role in the daily lives of people. Some highlighted parts of nature that could be explored more are conservation areas, camping, hiking, and geocaching. Next, onto fitness events. It increases inclusivity and is sports oriented. We feel there would be a big response to events like cricket tournaments, yoga events, dance classes, soccer tournaments, and more that can help international students feel more involved in the community, while it also promotes a healthy lifestyle. In terms of nightlife, this area has room to grow. We propose a few events that would help get the international students to become more active in the community, with a suggestion of movie nights, karaoke nights, shopping events, and game nights. Lastly, for cultural events, it's clear that cultural events are extremely important to implement, and we have plenty of room to grow with these ideas to encourage international students to stay in the area. Certain cultural events we feel would be a good place to start would be Navratri, Holi celebrations, and Diwali celebrations. Now I'm going to hand things over to Divi to talk about marketing.
Thanks, Ebenezer. For our survey data and the research, we can show that most of the international students are using WhatsApp, right? So we are suggesting two-way marketing campaign. First is using by WhatsApp and second is using by YouTube. In WhatsApp, we can use create a Bay of Quinte profile for the international students, in which we can use by sending various messages, by creating a broadcast messages, right? we can send various local events, schedule them promotional events, as well as we can send invitation of various events. And by the WhatsApp, we can also use a measure engagement and conversion rates, how many international students engage with us. And the second half of it, it's a YouTube channel. We are suggesting to create a YouTube channel which is showcase the local community. We also use this YouTube channel to promote our various workshop as well as job fairs. We are also creating various workshop which is based on skills, teaching various skills on YouTube, and also showcase the various businesses and culture parks, government various resources. And there is a room for a growth where international students can answer any question and we can answer them at the right time. And also we are posting some tutorials which is helpful for international students to gain some knowledge. And we are also posting some interviews. The international students can learn from that, like the all pass from this region, and they can know about what is the growth of this region and how we can post more about that. Thank you. Now I think to Alison.
Thank you, Debbie. So in conclusion, we have clearly identified that there is a disconnect between the Bay of Quinte and international students. We know there is a lack of awareness of job opportunities aligned with PR criteria. With our presentation, we have proposed programs designed to engage international students within the Bay of Quinte region. We have proposed activities to capture the interest of international students. We have designed a marketing campaign to use WhatsApp and YouTube to communicate and engage with the international students of the Bay of Quinte region. Based on our research, interviews, and discussions we have had with the international students, as well as the opportunities for engagement we have discussed throughout this presentation, our team has suggested that a committee be formed called the International Student Engagement Committee to oversee all the events and projects we have developed and presented to you today. The international students of this region have worked essential jobs during the pandemic to help our community. These students and graduates would like to choose this region as their forever home. If we provide help for these community members, they will continue to give back to the community for years to come. This project could not have been made possible if it were not for the help of Bob Millard and Doug Stevenson, as well as the global business management teams A and B, who helped create many program ideas mentioned. We would like to say a big thank you to all of these people. Our team of over 22 people worked remotely to complete this project. Thank you to the committee members for this opportunity to share our project.
All right, thanks, Alison. That was a great conclusion. So now we're actually going to open the floor to for questions.
Anybody on the committee want to ask the students a question? I can't see everybody, but if you want to raise your hand or there we go. We'll go to Councillor Alsop to start it.
Thank you, Chair. And I just wanted to commend all the students on a wonderful presentation. I know it's always a little bit nerve-wracking to do public presentations, and certainly when you layer on the technological difficulties of doing it over Zoom, sometimes that can be very fear-inducing. I thought you all did a wonderful job. As it relates to the Every Home Tastes Different event, which I think is a wonderful idea because food is often a really great way to access new cultures and try things out and immerse yourself in a new culture in a very easy to do and very delicious way. Do you have a sense of how many different food cultures are represented by the international students and sort of what that would look like on display at an event?
I'm willing to answer that if you guys are okay with that. I think that it would take a little bit more look into a little bit more research. We'd be happy to look into it a little bit more. Go ahead, John.
I could actually answer that. So it would mostly be food from the Indian subcontinent, as most of the international students are from India. So, but there are different, actually, like Divi and Bidagnos, there are different foods from India. Like in the south, it's usually more spicy, and then north, it's usually more yogurt in it and stuff. So it would be mostly, but you might have some Bangladeshi, some Sri Lankan food, maybe some Pakistani.
Wonderful, thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Alsop. Next question, Janet, go ahead.
Yes, hi, Allison and group. I know some of you from Loyalist.
Hello.
That was a great presentation. I'm pretty interested in your app, that WhatsApp. My question about the presentation, though, is how it has to do with your connection with the community. How do you feel we can improve on the transportation, getting the college students into the city proper?
Our team actually did look into that quite a bit. It was something we talked about. It's definitely a point of interest for international students. We did see results from our survey that said that a majority of them are using the city bus system, and that there is definitely room for increasing availability for it and creating maybe more of a schedule for people that are doing shift work at nighttime. That was something that I know was mentioned. But it's definitely something that would be worth talking about further, that we did research during our survey.
Excellent. Thanks, Allison.
If I can add to that, one major area of public transportation that we think we would need is transportation between the different communities, like from Trenton to Belleville, which there isn't currently, which was like a big factor. You have to live in Belleville if you want to be able to get around, basically, if you don't have a car.
Thanks, John. Let's go to Councillor Bill Sanderson.
Yeah, thank you. Through the chair. And so first, let me congratulate the team on an excellent presentation. I can see there's been a lot of thought and a lot of hard work that's gone into it. So I have a question for the team, and then I'm going to respond to the public transit. So the question for the team is on the job employment front. Is during the orientation, where you're welcomed into Loyalist College, are job opportunities shared during the orientation? Because if it isn't, that would be an excellent way, at least for newcomers, to be aware of what opportunities are available in the region.
That's an excellent question. Thank you, Councillor Sanderson. I believe that part of it is that there's a little bit of a disconnect. There's lots of job opportunities for new arriving international students, but we're looking for trying to lead them into finding long-term employment after graduation. So we do have a lot of resources available from Loyalists, but we're trying to bridge that gap afterwards, after we reach a new group of graduates that could be helping with our community.
Okay, terrific. Thank you. Thank you for that.
If I can help, can I just help clarify? If I can help clarify one, I guess, point which could be misunderstood. The student's primary goal upon graduation is to receive employment that will lead them towards permanent residency. The criteria defined there. So those are jobs that would typically be within a managerial type, whether you start off in a purchasing role, you're in a planning role, you could be in administration, but those are roles that will lead them in towards permanent residency. The primary goal is for them to gain employment upon graduation and work towards their permanent residency. And where the gaps appears to be with the students is not getting the jobs at Walmart and the jobs at Home Depot and that, but getting the jobs that are going to link them towards that check mark towards permanent residency. That's really the primary driver for every single student. And that would really capture their interest if we could introduce them to organizations which upon graduation would be potentially interested in hiring them.
Okay, understood. And that would be preferably in their field of expertise. So on the public transit, so we are very close. We've been working with Quinte Access for probably the last 18 months. They've gone through a process much like ourselves, where they have acquired new vehicles. The Belleville Transit fleet added 5 new vehicles this year. We're looking to expand transit locally into Ward 2 in September. And also working with Quinte Access, we are working towards regional transit between Quinte West and Belleville. And I was talking with our transit manager, Paul Buck, last week, and he was having meetings with his counterpart in Quinte West, and an announcement will be forthcoming shortly.
Thank you for that, Councillor Sanderson. Any other questions? Mary Jo.
Good morning, everybody. This is a question for the general group. I'm very interested in some of the festivals that you were talking about. Has nothing to do with getting a job. It's more the extracurricular fun stuff. I'm the executive director of the downtown district, and we have a summer of events coming up. Who would you suggest that I would be able to reach out to, who would be interested in putting together some events around some of the festivals that you guys are accustomed to?
Can I make a recommendation? Divvy just raised his hand. I definitely think Divvy and Vivek may be the best people to talk to about this.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Karen.
Thank you, Chair Kelly. So it was a great presentation. Thank you so much. That's great information for us in economic development to have. I was just wondering, when you mentioned the International Student Engagement Committee, just wondering what you felt that committee, what that makeup would look like for that committee. Are you thinking students and city representatives, or did you have another idea for that kind of committee?
I could actually take that question, Karen. What we've discussed, but haven't landed on a final for, because this is actually the first time this has been presented and the students just wrapped their results, was that it might actually happen through the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board with our mandate related to resident attraction and immigration, so that we would work to engage a group of students, but also be looking for representation from each of our partner communities. Because at the end of the day, I think we want to be working together to do this. You know, when they make the presentation and they go down through it, it's clear that there are a lot of elements already in place here. You know, your department, along with Quinte West, does a terrific job with job fairs. The Waterfront Festival does have an international food component. But I think what was eye-opening to me is there isn't the connection to Loyalist College that maybe we need to be achieving. And so that's going to be one of the primary goals. And then just to Mary Jo's point, what we're also proposing to do here is allot some of our budget to support some of the initiatives that this committee may want to undertake. So for example, maybe there's a food event that they can partner with the downtown district on this summer. We would love to provide some budget and support for things like that. So that's how we're envisioning next steps.
Thank you. Doug, follow up, Karen?
No, that answered the question. Yeah, thank you.
All right, thanks. Any other questions? Just a couple of thoughts. First of all, thank you so much to Bob Millard and Doug Stevenson and the students from Loyalist. Really good presentation. A couple of things I took from it, my notes: disconnect between city and international students. And I think it's fair to say in the last 15 months, we haven't had a chance to have that engagement or some community activities due to the pandemic. A couple of other things that I took. The International Engagement Committee, as Mr. Stevenson just mentioned, I see that bridging with a lot of committees, not only the EDDC committee, but also the city's Equity, Diversity, Inclusion Committee. We're talking about events. And part of the challenge is we want to partner with Loyalists, but we don't know any of the players, and trying to find out who we can work with and who has the energy and the capacity to pull this off. And I'm looking at a screen now. We've made contact. So we've been building bridges here today. And as Doug said, the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board. As much as we can do for Loyalists, we need the international students to work with us. And now that we're meeting one another, it just makes it easier for all of us. So I really see this today with this presentation. So many positives have come out of it. And now we know who to contact and to invite and get that conversation going for next events, or what the game plan is next to bring us more to an inclusive city. And there's so much education shared with the different cultures. So well done. Any final comments for the students? Because I know you got to get back to class. Any other comments?
I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone for giving us this opportunity.
Well, thank you. Thanks, Allison. Thanks to all the students. Anything else, Doug, you want to add before we go to the next item?
Just great work, team.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you so much. Are we going to have a copy of that, Doug, that we could share?
It's
somewhere?
in the agenda. Yeah,
Yeah, we could share it to folks in Belleville with the study.
you bet.
All right, thank you so much. Moving on to number 8, Economic Development Activity Report. I believe this is just an information item, Karen. We don't need a mover and seconder on this, do we?
No, it is just for information, and if any committee members have any questions about some of the activities we've undertaken, would be happy to answer those. I do have 2 quick statistic updates that I thought might be of interest to the committee, if that's okay, Chair Kelly.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, I will from now on include in the report some local statistics that I think really are good economic indicators of what's happening around the region. One of the best economic indicators, I think, are building statistics. So every month our building department issues a report that tracks the activity that they've had over the last month, and it compares year to date for the current period as opposed to the year before. So some really good statistics. And the last report we have is as of the end of March. And the city issued $15.6 million worth of permits for construction activity as of the end of March, compared to 14.9 in 2020. So despite the fact that we've been in this pandemic for more than a year, our building statistics continue to grow, which is great. And as you know, we've discussed many times at this committee that one of the biggest challenges in our region is housing. And I'm pleased to report that our building department issued permits for 65 new residential units, and that's up from 49 residential units issued in the period before 1 year ago. So some good and encouraging statistics there. The only other statistic I wanted to mention was the local EI rate. For years, we've talked about Economic Region 3515 and how it does not reflect necessarily what's happening in Belleville. And I'm thrilled to report that not long ago, a change was made, and we are able now to see unemployment statistics for the city of Belleville's census agglomeration area. So it's a little more relevant EI information. So if we look at the EI rate for March of 2020, so 1 year ago, it was about 11%. So what you saw there, it went from 5% to 11% very quickly as a result of the closures and the pandemic that happened last March. We are down to 10.4% for March of 2021. So we're seeing a reduction. But we do know that that number is much higher than it should be. We do know there are a lot of jobs out there going unfilled. Another telling statistic as part of that EI information is our participation rate. So right now the participation rate is 62%. It was 51%. So there's lots of opportunities there for folks to find work. If you look anywhere around town, you'll find help wanted signs. So we give you those statistics not because they necessarily reflect exactly what's happening in the community, but because it's important to track those rates over time. Now that we have a rate that reflects more of our area as opposed to a territory that stretches across Eastern Ontario, I think those rates will hopefully become more relevant the longer we're able to report on them. So that was the only 2 bits of information I wanted to add to that, Councillor Kelly.
All right, thank you, Karen. Anybody have a question for Karen with that report? All right, seeing none. Moving on to the next item, Newcomer Center of Peel presentation update. We'll go back to Karen.
Great, thank you again, Chair Kelly. So the committee may recall that the city of Belleville and the city of Quinte West have for the last few years participated in a career fair at the Newcomer Center of Peel. Peel region, which of course is in the GTA in the Toronto area, they have an enviable situation in that they have far more newcomers, so new Canadians settling in Peel than they have jobs. particularly jobs in their field. So the community organizes a career fair a couple of times a year where communities from outside of Peel can come in and market their jobs in their communities to these folks that have landed in Peel as new Canadians. We've participated in that job fair for, I think, about 3 years now. And of course, with the pandemic, in-person career fair is not possible. So they reached out to us to participate in a webinar. So last week, the City of Belleville and the City of Quinte West put together a webinar that included greetings from both community mayors. It included a presentation on the community made by Linda and myself. Chris King from QEDC was on the webinar to talk about job opportunities in the manufacturing sector. We had Luc Fournier from the Small Business Center talking about entrepreneurship opportunities in the community. And we also had Kat Fisher from Quinte United Immigration Services talking about settlement opportunities here in the region. So the goal of that was really to educate them in terms of the type of jobs that are available in this community. So we highlighted construction jobs, we highlighted manufacturing, tourist-related positions, and healthcare as being of particular need in this community. And as a result, we received so far more than 25 resumes from folks who are interested in finding a job here and moving to this community. So it worked really well, and we will be following up with the entire group. We had over 100 people from Peel on the webinar, and the feedback was very positive. So just to give the committee an idea of what we've done to try and promote the region to workers.
All right, thank you, Director Post. Anything else? Any questions? All good? All right, thank you, Karen. Belleville's Visitors Guide, item number 10. Hopefully you had a chance to look at it, and well done. We'll go back to Karen for that.
Well, actually, I'm going to send this over to Alicia, but first I just wanted to say that this visitor's guide that we do annually is really the document that we hope that visitors, once they get to the community, will take and keep and refer to constantly. Alicia and Anna from the Chamber have worked exceptionally hard on this document, and they've done a great job, I think. And just wanted to say a special thank you to Alicia and to Anna for all their hard work on this publication. So I'll turn it over to Alicia.
Thank you, Karen. I'll just, again, want to recognize Anna as well. Anna Freiberg with the Chamber of Commerce. We made a great team on this one, I think, and we work really well together. So this is a sneak peek of the guide. It is posted to discoverbelleville.ca currently. We're awaiting the final print on the publication, and then we're going to be working over the next week or two on a plan to roll out the print copy of the guide and to advertise the fact that it is available. So we're just putting a bit of a plan together. We are sensitive to the fact, obviously, that we're still currently in a lockdown. So we want to just make sure that we have there's some good thought put into how we will roll that out in a safe way.
All right, thank you, Alicia. Any other comments to make about the visitor's guide? I'm seeing nobody. Oh, Doug, go ahead.
I'd just like to celebrate it. I think it's terrific. It's well laid out. You've put multiple jumping off points on the page, which I think is so important to get readers' attention in different ways right now. I love the fact that you've also included a residential component. We know if we can get tourists here, we got to show them the potential to live here too. I think that's terrific. And I loved the back cover, no ad. It just creates such a strong publication. Somebody picks it up. It's coherent, it's clean. It was very well done.
Yes, I will echo that. Well done. Janet, you want to say something?
Yeah, I also want to commend you on it. And of course, I love the gallery section, but the images are, they really are stunning. Well done. Great layout.
Thank you, Janet. I think that's all for that portion of the visitor's guide. Moving up to number 11, results from Quintilicious. Councillor McCaw declared a conflict of interest, and she is left. She'll come back after we're done this discussion, and we'll go to Director Post again.
Thanks, Councillor Kelly. Alicia has a presentation she'd like to give to the committee just on the event, and I'm going to send it off to her.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So as promised at our last meeting, this is a report that we're excited to present on behalf of the team for Quinte Belleville. I think we're very happy. In our opinion, these are some very successful results that we've gathered through various metrics and based on feedback from the 21 participating restaurants. So thank you to Bay of Quinte, as they were a funding partner in making this event happen. And I'm presenting this report on behalf of the team that I worked with, that I was very happy to work with. And that is Anna Freiberg from the Chamber, Kelsey Moniz from the Belleville Downtown District, and Courtney Klumper from Bay of Quinte Tourism. So thanks, ladies. So we'll get started here. This is a highlight of the 21 locally owned Belleville restaurants that participated. So we have a great range this year, which was unique compared to past events. If you want to just go to the third slide there. This is a breakdown of some of the marketing materials that were executed as part of this campaign. As you can see, there was a real investment made in some strong photography, which you'll see from the results was really awarded from the businesses that participated. And we certainly saw, in terms of some of the digital components that we worked with, the benefit in making that investment into some really strong content to push out the message. Next slide. So some of the information we'll be reporting on today is the participant survey that was sent out to all restaurants that took part in the event, as well as some analytics from the digital components that we used to promote the campaign. And we'll talk briefly about the contest that we ran as well. Next slide. Actually, if you want to jump ahead again, thank you. So we had a 57% response rate from the survey that went out. So that's 12 out of the 21 restaurants. Overall, in terms of rating the event, we saw just over 90% of the responses showed that they considered the event either good or excellent, which we consider a really great response. Next slide. We dug into a little bit more specific information. So this slide, we asked them to rate 3 areas: the event and marketing, the staff communication, and the length of the event. And as you can see, over 90% excellent and good on those responses. The next question shown there is addressing the specific marketing tools that were used. So as you can see, top responses here were social media, both posts and content created, as well as advertising that was posted. And then thirdly, there is the investment in photography, which we've already mentioned. We think really helped achieve some of these results in a big way. So we're really happy to have made that investment and work with an amazing local photographer in our downtown district. That was Christopher Gentile. Next slide, please. This was gauging some specific results from the restaurants. So we asked if this event resulted in new customers, increased awareness, increased sales in comparison to the year prior, or none of the above. As you can see, there was a significant response between 70 and 80% in terms of new customers and increased awareness. When it comes to the number of meals served over the course of the events, which was over a 31-day period, on average, 65% of the businesses saw 50 to 150 meals go out the door specifically for Quintilicious off of that menu. And the estimated gross sales ranged from $250 to $6,000. Next slide, please. One of the questions we wanted to gauge from the audience was whether there'd be any potential in discussing a regional culinary association. And this is something that's been discussed through the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board to potentially look at to replace the restaurant association that we've had previously sit on the board. So this would encompass a wider group of businesses that would represent culinary. And as you can see, over 50% of the restaurants that participated are interested in having that conversation. So that could lead into some interesting opportunities down the road when it comes to a regional culinary presence. Would you participate in the event again? 100% responded yes. I think that one is self-explanatory, so that's great to hear. When we asked what time of year would be most ideal, 50% of the responses agreed that March is a good month, followed by January and February being a potential month to look at, as well as the fall, getting into September and October prior to the holiday season. Next slide, please. This is just a forecast of some of the comments that were collected as part of the survey. So in terms of what was liked most about the event, people really highlighted the photography and marketing overall. One response was that it was their best March on record in 5 years, which is a great comment to receive back. Most businesses really liked how we had such a wide range of participants and types of restaurants participate across the city. Increased awareness and support for the local restaurant industry. People were really pleased overall with the organization and staff communication. And I think that's in large due to the type of partnership we had here as well, with the 4 partners being involved. And as well, the opportunity to have some new customers come through their door. In terms of what could be done differently, although all restaurants saw the photography as a great investment and was very effective, it's something, comment was to consider a variety of photographs to be used for each participant. And then some of the comments in terms of the range of participants felt that just based on previous Quintilicious events, it's been really focused on in-dining and experience-driven, which I think is certainly an accurate comment. But one thing I'll note is that one of the goals was during a pandemic to really open it up as much as we could to all restaurants, and knowing in the planning stages that takeout was potentially the only option we had available. So I think overall we met that objective, and people luckily were able to partake in both dine-in and takeout options, but as a note to consider for future. And in terms of the physical and digital passports that we used as part of the marketing campaign, I would say the reviews were mixed. I'll get into some more specifics on both of those items that we used, but I will say, I think that the restaurants that really pushed out both the physical passport and the digital passport component saw some great successes there. So I think that the mixed reviews are slightly based on those who thought it would be effective and really focused on getting it out to their customers, and those that didn't. Next slide, please, or 2 slides up. So looking at some of our digital analytics, so we did really push out the message around getting people to the website, which is where the menus were housed, and that was quintilicious.ca. As you can see here, page views over the month of March and, a week before the event launched, so February 23rd to March 31st, we had just shy of 16,000 views total to the website. So we can definitely see the greatest peak on the day that we launched the marketing campaign, upwards of 2,000 page views that first day. The next peak we see is, looks like around 1,200. And that was when the event began. So that's people getting back to the web page and probably looking at the menus more specifically so that they could look at what kind of orders they want to place. And I think a fun challenge for us that we've already started discussing is how we can keep people engaged over that month period. So maybe it's looking at different themes each week, or different types of things that we can do each week to better engage people, because we certainly see that click view decrease as the event goes on towards the end of the month. So I think that's a fun challenge that we can look at together to increase that awareness towards the end of the event. Next slide, please. This is a snapshot provided by Get in the Loop, and Get in the Loop was our digital partner, and they oversaw the digital passport component. This piece of the partnership was funded through Bay of Quinte as a bit of a pilot project. And I will say it was a really great opportunity to work with another local business. Stephen and Tracy are our local franchisees for Get in the Loop, and they have an office in our downtown, in the downtown district in Belleville. So again, a really great opportunity to bring on a local technical partner in an event where we're promoting local businesses. So I really enjoyed working with Steve and Tracy on this. These are some stats they've provided. I think an important number to focus in on is the total response, which is the 6,008 that you can see there. And this is an important metric. As Steve explained to me, it really shows how many people were actively engaged on the app. And so people had to actually download this app on their phone in order to use the punch card to gain or to enter into the digital contest. So when you see this number, it shows that we had over 6,000 people over the course of the month that were actively engaged in either exploring offer details, so the information that was provided by each business on the app, liking or sharing some of the offers available, and those who are overall actively engaged. We spoke to all of the restaurants in terms of feedback on the digital component. And I will stress again, those that really utilized the app and built their offers saw some amazing results. As part of this partnership, the businesses were able to continue to promote their offers over a 3-month period. So some of those businesses are still current or actively promoting the app and loading offers completely outside of anything that was available through Quintilicious. So I think we'll continue to be able to look at some of the results from that. And as I mentioned, it's a bit of a pilot project for Bay of Quinte. So I think, you know, from their standpoint, we'll be able to look at that data over the course of a 3-month period and see what other campaigns we could potentially use this app for in the future. If you want to click to the next slide, this is just some key highlights provided by Get in the Loop, and it really touches on some of the benefits that the businesses saw, the benefits we saw as a region, and then I think benefit or data that Get in the Loop themselves will benefit from when it comes to engaging a wider audience across the region and working with other industries moving forward. Next slide, please. So I'm going to talk about some of the social media statistics. These are our stats from our Facebook page. So we had a dedicated Quintilicious Facebook page, as well as a Quintilicious event Facebook page. Overall page reach was just over 19,000 with a post engagement of 1,660. We're really happy with these numbers. Again, this is over the course of a month and a week. And when it comes to the event page, we reached over 4,500 people. So again, some really great stats there. The next page of statistics shows the same information for our Instagram page. We had a dedicated Quintilicious Instagram page. The page reach there was 1,245 with just shy of 12,000 impressions. So again, some really great feedback there. And Instagram was a great tool, especially because of the quality of the photo content and the video content we had to work with. Next slide. This shows some user-generated content specifically from Instagram and Facebook. And as you can see, users shared the content that we provided, but they also were sharing their own content. So 2 of these photos were taken by users, and that really helps in terms of increasing the overall engagement when you're looking at some of the data that comes back. So that's exactly what we want to see out of campaigns like this, is that user-generated content. Next slide, please. These are some digital stats from our partnerships with the local radio stations. So we had digital ads both on Quinte News and in Quinte. I do want to stress that these are not apples to apples comparisons, because we did not run the same campaign on both ads. So I think it's important that we don't compare these numbers against each other. We're really happy based on the investment made with both companies of the results. So as you can see there, between 150 and 200,000 impressions on both sites with some really, really great click rates, which means they had to click on the ad to actually get to the Quintilicious.ca webpage. Next slide, please. So this is the contest results. So a big message we pushed throughout the entire campaign was their ability to collect 5 stamps on your physical passport and enter them into a ballot box to win $500 in prizes, as well as the digital component, which was collecting 5 codes and entering them into the app. Overall, we had 62 passports returned, 43 were qualified because it had to be 5 different restaurants. So we had 43 people who collected stamps from 5 different restaurants. And with the Get in the Loop punch card, we had 167 active users. So that's 167 users that filled in their punch card to a degree, and then 20 who had a qualified completed passport. Again, I think this component is something that we can analyze and probably something that we could change up a bit, but overall, I think it was definitely worthwhile. And we had 2 exciting winners who were able to choose what participating restaurants they wanted to collect up to $500 in gift cards to. So again, we have some very happy customers that will be returning back to many of the restaurants that were able to join us for this event. So overall, I think, as I mentioned, in our opinion, we're really happy with these results, and 100% restaurants wanting to participate again, I think speaks volumes to the success that they saw in participating in the event. That's it in terms of the data that we're reporting on, and I'm happy to answer any questions at this time if the committee has any.
Catherine Brown has a question. Go ahead, Catherine.
Thank you, Alicia. That report was really helpful. I know I have probed Mary Jo and Kelsey a number of times in terms of how was it going over the course of the month and what were the results. One area I just like if you could clarify for me. In the do differently, am I interpreting the comment that it should not include traditional takeout restaurants? Did I understand that comment correctly?
Yeah, that was one comment that we received. So again, I think it's somebody who's participated in Quintilicious, the regional event in the past, where it was very specifically dine in, 3-course meal, only $40 option. So I think they were just saying that they liked the uniqueness of that element of the event. That's the interpretation I got from that comment.
Okay. And is it something in terms of going forward next year that we would consider? And the reason for my question is we have a number of locations throughout the city and some of them in downtown as well, that while they function strictly as takeout, it may be due to a space limitation as opposed to what they ideally would like to be when they grow up. So is that something that we would consider in terms of maybe a different section of Quintilicious or whether they be included or not included? I'm just curious whether or not the conversations have happened.
The conversations haven't happened yet, but based on the feedback, I think it's something that we should consider as a group of staff and discuss anyway.
Great, thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Any other questions? Alicia, thank you so much. Oh, Doug, do you have a question? We'll go to
I just
Doug.
want to make a comment about the Get in the Loop. You know, when it said total 402 actions, meals were $20 or $40. So if my math's correct, the average is 30. So if you take 402 actions by 30, that's over $12,000 right there that we can track. I love that we can track that. And just the web metrics, you know, to see 16,000 total in a month, 12.5 of those new, but maybe more importantly, 3.5 of those are returning. They're looking again. And average time on page, almost 4 minutes. So people are looking at the menus. I think the takeaways here are really strong. And yeah, I'm looking forward to the next.
All right, thank you, Doug. Thanks, Alicia, for the report. Let's welcome Councillor McCall back into the fold. And there she is. All right, number 12, an brief update on the pop-ups on the Bay of Quinte. Let's go to Manager Karen Post.
I'm going to refer that one to Alicia again.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Chair. So a quick update, we are getting closer to our launch for the season. Anybody who's on site or near the site next week will see some digging. So we do have our electricians starting on site next week to look after the new electrical infrastructure that's required to accommodate the additional pop-ups we're adding this year. As of next week, we have any vendor that is leasing an existing unit that's on site. They may be accessing those units as early as next week to prep for the season, which is great we'll see some activity down there. This week, so on Monday, we were able to launch a mural program for the pop-ups. So it's something that I've been doing a little bit of research on, and anybody who wants to take a look in terms of where we had the inspiration, I would recommend checking out Stacked Market in Toronto. You'll see under their Inspire section of that website how they have partnered with artists across the city to really bring some interesting elements into that program. Again, so it's called Stack Toronto. So we reached out to some partners, Bay of Quinte, Quinte Arts Association and the Belleville Arts Association, really just to gauge if we could look at doing a similar program for our pop-ups on the Bay program. And the response was really successful. I want to thank Doug for being a partner on this. We are receiving some funding from Bay of Quinte to help fund the program. Essentially, what we've done is a call out to artists. So on Monday it went out and it closes next Friday. And we are looking for up to 13 designs to have murals painted on the pop-ups on site. So we're looking at having at least one wall of every pop-up painted, and as well as the 20 by 8 foot container. So we have the one that's along the waterfront at the docking area where Venture Outfitters has their water sport rentals, as well as the 20 by 8 foot container at the entryway of the park. So some really great opportunities there, I think, both for the pop-up program itself to create some interest on site, as well as a great opportunity to showcase the amazing talent we have across the region. So I want to especially thank Doug and Janet, who are on the call, for their support in this program. We've been working really diligently with the health unit to make sure we're meeting all the requirements. There are a lot of them. One thing we'll see that's different on site this year is we've been required to essentially define the area in a physical nature. So we are having to install a 4-foot fence around the pop-up vending area. Reason being is we are defined as an organized event. And because of the restrictions during the pandemic, we have to be able to monitor how many people are on site for the pop-ups. So that is something that will look a bit different. Luckily, it is only 4 feet, so we're hoping it's not too intrusive, but we're coming up with ways to make that work as well. And we have submitted a plan to the health unit that's been approved, so that's very exciting. Lots of layers to this project, probably too many to speak of on this meeting, but the vendors we're working with are all fantastic. I had individual site meetings with each of the 13 vendors last week. They're excited, they're pumped for the season, and I think it's going to be a really great season down at the pop-ups this year.
Thank you, Alicia. Any questions? Thank you for that report. And I'm seeing no questions. We're going to move right along to item number 13, business retention expansion. Bree got the draft survey, and we're going to go to a manager post for this. And I believe she's not going to hand off to Alicia this time.
That's right. I'll take this one for sure. So for those committee members who are maybe not familiar with the business retention and expansion process, it's essentially a business survey process where a municipality goes out. We typically do it by sector, where we go and we ask a certain sector what they like and what needs improvement in terms of running a business in the community. So we asked, typically a lot of questions around what works, what needs improvement. We as staff take that feedback back, we summarize it for council, and then, in the past, council has done some really amazing things with the information that we've been able to gather through this BRE survey. We call it BRE for short. Things like transportation improvements, transit improvements, the doctor recruitment programs, some tax classification changes. There have been a lot of decisions that council has made in the past that have come directly from this survey. So as I mentioned, we normally would review or survey a certain sector. My apologies if you hear noise in the background. I've got a jackhammer right outside my window here working away. So my apologies if it's a little bit hard to hear because of that. But what we're suggesting be done this time is that we do a general business survey, so not focused on any one sector, but really spread it out to the entire business community and ask that they complete the survey, just giving us information on how the pandemic has impacted them. We know the impact has been varied depending on the type of business that you're in. You know, asking questions around what could we do better, what would look like more support or more help, what has worked, what has been help or support, really to gauge and understand what the impact locally has been of the pandemic. We ask a number of questions around staffing impacts and so on, because we think that that is helpful information. We hope we never have to go through this situation again in our lifetime. But at the same time, I feel like the feedback that we get could be helpful, even if we never do have a pandemic again. It could be helpful for us in terms of fashioning policies and procedures that would be supportive to business. So we've put a bunch of questions down on a piece of paper. It's really kind of our first crack at formulating these questions. We would really love the support. We'd love the input of the committee in terms of any questions you think we shouldn't ask, we should ask differently, or any questions that should be added to the survey. We try to keep the survey as brief as possible because businesses, if they open an 80 question survey, they're likely to close it and never complete it. So we do try to keep it as brief as possible. But at the same time, we want those questions to be sort of the most telling questions that we can ask. So we've included the draft. It's a very rough draft, hoping, of course, for lots of participation from the committee in terms of questions that you would like added or changed.
All right, thank you, Manager Post. It wasn't too distracting with the people drilling outside. Any quick questions? Oh, Catherine Brown. Go ahead, Catherine.
Sorry, Sean, I must be a little slow coming up there. I'm going in slow motion. My question is for Manager Post. Karen, by going to the general business community as opposed to by sector this time, how will we differentiate, or how can we differentiate the results from BRE from the survey that Brad and company just did not long ago, the Employer One survey? I looked at the draft and I understand it's draft. But it seems to be asking a lot of very similar questions to what that survey would have posed.
Thank you, Catherine. Through the chair to committee member Catherine. There are some similar questions. Brad, of course, with the Center for Workforce Development, the survey that he did was regional, and his region is very big. So it goes into Lennox and Addington, including Quinte West, Prince Edward County, most of Hastings County. So for us, this is a survey that really focuses on Belleville, sort of specifically what services we've been providing, the business climate unique to our community. We will certainly, and have been, looking at the results of what Brad has put together. So we as always, we take that information into account in everything that we do, but we'd like to get a good understanding of specifically what Belleville businesses have been experiencing.
Okay, terrific, thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you, Catherine, good question. All right, no other questions for Manager Post. We're going to go down to the, thank you for that, Karen. We're going to go to the update from partner organizations. So what has happened for our new member, Councillor Sanderson? Our partners would give a report verbally, but under this new administration, we'd like to see a report, handwritten report, submitted to Manager Post, and then we can refer to that and always have the history of what the conversation was, or what the successes they've had with their multiple partners. And Manager Post, I'm going to go to you. We're still going to let our partners have some time today, but they're going to be writing a report for our meetings in the future. So Karen, do we have someone that wants to speak here today?
We have received reports from the chamber that I circulated just before this meeting. We've received reports from the Home Builders Association as well, and the Quinte Arts Council. So those we do have. I don't know if committee members have had a chance to take a look at those reports, but those we did circulate earlier. So maybe with those three, we could ask if there were any questions or anything that those three agencies might have in addition to what they put in the report, if that sounds reasonable.
Yes, that's reasonable. Any questions from the three reports received? Thanks to Ruth for getting that in the chamber, already a step ahead of us. So anybody have a question on those three agencies? Okay, so the other remaining ones that are here, who would like to go first? Mr. King, we'll let you go. You're up. You get 1 minute. The clock is ticking.
I'm going to go fast, but I got a lot to cover off. So Quinte Economic Development, we focus primarily on the industrial side of economic development, manufacturing, food processing, logistics, also the technology sector. You recall in your strategic plan that this committee has, one of the key priorities is attracting and training workers. So I'm going to talk to you about some of the results we've had from that. You recall I've talked about Elevate Plus. We train people with barriers to employment to get them job ready, and that's ongoing. But we also train the incumbent workforce in the manufacturing sector. So these are people already working that need to upgrade their skills and their capabilities to improve the performance of local companies. And last year, so this funding we had was on the April 1st to March 31st fiscal. We were able to provide directly to our manufacturers $330,000 in training support, training 250 people in the region. Companies in Belleville that participated included Cascades, GH Manufacturing, Hennepin Automation, JBS, Kellogg's, Lactalis, which you all know as Black Diamond, Procter & Gamble, Reed's Dairy, Signal, Sprague Foods, Triangle Fluid Control. So they all participated and they had 100% of their training paid for it. Loyalist College is a big part of the training provider. So that money goes to the college and that kind of keeps everything moving. And there were some other training providers that helped us out too. We also had funding that wrapped up March 31st through the Rural Economic Development Program about promoting manufacturing jobs in this region. And you've heard me talk in the past where manufacturing is about 15% of the jobs in the region, about 20% of the wages, but half of the economic output in this region comes from manufacturing. So if we're a $12 billion economy in this region, 6.7 billion happens from the manufacturing sector. So big contributor to the region. So our manufacturers needed help in terms of promoting jobs. And we had some RED funding through the Target RED program to do that. And we did some radio campaigns, some social media, some digital, creating a landing page at the Manufacturing Association website for manufacturing specific jobs. They said, we need to fill these jobs. So with that program, great results. We were hoping to fill about 30 jobs in that program. 9 companies participate in the radio program and the social media. We filled 119 positions in the manufacturing sector. So these are manufacturers that said, hey, I can't find people to fill this. So with the radio campaign support and the digital media, we were able to help find them people in the community, get them engaged and fill those jobs. So 119 people filled those positions. And every one of those companies that participated said, we'd do that again, find some more money to make that happen. So that's, at the end of the day, it's user driven. And these were strategies that we don't just sit around, hey, how can we help? We have the Belleville strategic plan, but we also have our manufacturers got together last year to say, here's a document or here's our input in terms of where we need help. So we're kind of following what our industry have asked for. Industry driven is how we kind of look at it.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate that.
Hey, can I have just one more piece, Councillor Kelly?
Yes.
I know you're in a hurry, and I like efficiency, so that's good. But I got some good news for you, though. So the RED program wrapped up March 31st. March 30th, through Todd Smith, they announced funding for 2 years to support the same program to do more advertising. We're getting a lot of money to do that, and we put in the application support for the city of Belleville and their Belleville Wants You campaign database, their jobs resume database, which is a really effective program. So Belleville, through this program, is through QEDC, and the funding we receive is going to receive $50,000 per year over 2 years to support that resume database, 10,000 a year for management of that database, but also 40,000 per year to market and promote that jobs database. So that's dollars going back into Belleville to help doing that. And these aren't dollars that, you know, you just apply and get. You have to put a business case together. They're non-discretionary. You have to access those dollars. So Karen and I, we have a draft kind of agreement on how that's going to work. We're just finalizing that. And then we're going to start flowing those dollars to Belleville quarterly to promote that resume database, which is a good tool. And you'll see a whole lot more advertising in our perspective from the manufacturers because we have some more dollars to make that happen. So exciting things happen. I'll have a report for you guys next time, so you could take it all and ask more questions. But good news, our budget for QDC is just over 400,000. We're for something per capita with our 3 communities. This year with the funding we're getting, it's not from the province and the feds and others, it's going to be about $2.2 million in program we're going to deliver. So we're leveraging your dollars about 5 to 1 to make this happen. So I'll leave it at that.
Very impressive.
Is that fast enough, Councillor Kelly?
That was fine. Well done, Chris. Thank you. Catherine from the DBIA, are you speaking to us today? We're just going to have to get you. There you go.
Oh, sorry. So Mary Jo will do the update, but I did want to just do a lead-in opportunity for those of you on EDDC who may not be aware, and I'm sure we all are. Mary Jo will be leaving us to move to a nearby city. Mary Jo, you're okay if I say where? She's going in as the executive director for the Kingston BIA. We're going to miss her bigly, if I could use the word, in a huge way. Mary Jo has been very instrumental in being the creative driver and helping us to build our partnerships with the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing, with the economic development within the city, with the chamber, with the arts associations, Quinte Arts Council. And I don't think we would be where we are today, and that's a really positive place, without all of Mary Jo's contributions. So I just wanted to say, let everybody know that it is official, and just to, on a personal side, say thank you to Mary Jo for everything she's brought to the downtown district. And with that, yes, thank you. And then I'll let Mary Jo update you on the things that she's cramming into her final weeks with us as we get ready for the transition.
Thank you, Catherine, and thanks, you guys. I've gotten to know everyone on this call except for John Chisholm. I don't know you over the last 2 years, and I'm certainly going to miss everybody. Now I've got 2 years of learning everybody all over again over in Kingston. But I'll still be, we still are residents here. We'll move over to Kingston, but we're keeping our home. So I'll be here. You'll see me floating around in the shadows downtown, checking up on things. What we've been spending our time in the office on is Kelsey's almost to the end of her maternity stint. So she'll be leaving us to have a baby shortly. So we have a new marketing and media officer, Tiffany, who has joined us just this week and next to work closely with Kelsey for the transition. It's working out really well. Those of you that know Tiffany already know that she's a great asset to the BIA. And those of you that don't, you will be meeting her over the next 12 months. In my office, we're mainly concentrating on alfresco planning. So we're really hoping to offer you alfresco 2.0 this year, and there's some really exciting things coming. Some great collaboration with the arts community, including some tete-a-tetes that are coming, which are two-seater Adirondack chairs with a table in the middle. The intention to keep people significantly enough distanced and also to be able to enjoy takeout outside. And those are going to be painted by local artists. So we're really excited about that. We also have t-shirts and banners programs in the works or coming. I just want to mention there is a sponsorship fee there's a sponsorship opportunity for the tete-a-tetes. We're asking for people to specifically organizations, and Chris, with your contacts at the manufacturing plants, I don't know whether we can talk later, but we've got 8 tete-a-tetes coming. We need 7 more sponsors. We've gotten 1 sponsor so far, and it's $1,500 to sponsor the entire chair. And that allows us to buy the chair, pay the artist properly, and purchase the paint. So anybody who has any ideas on that, you do get a plaque with your name on it. We're just trying to decide whether we're going to auction them off at the end of the year or just give them to the sponsors. So anything you can do to spread the word there. We're also in the mural business. We've got, we're working closely with a gentleman named Alan Bender, who will be he's working right now on deciding on the area that he'll be brightening up in the downtown core for August Mayor Arts Week. So looking forward to that. We are in the process of really sort of just sitting and waiting for grants. We've got 2 large grants out to fulfill some of our alfresco items and also just the downtown community feel in general. So that's a little bit challenging because we should be well past the ordering stage right now. We're sort of just ordering in pieces. And of course, we're in the office switchover. Both myself and Kelsey will be moving on. So we're working hard to make that transition really seamless and helping Catherine to make sure she doesn't lose any sleep over losing her 2 amigos. And that's it.
All right, thank you, Mary Jo, and thank you, Catherine, and all the best in Kingston. We're going to miss you, and we'll make and hopefully see you in around Belleville, or if we're down in Kingston, we'll bump into you. Thank you. Now, manager post we have is CFWD here. Brad, is he in the?
No, Brad
Okay.
is not attending today, but I believe John Chisholm is here from the real estate board from QDAR.
All right, John, take it away. What's happening in your sector?
Well, I've been in real estate for 47 years and I've never seen anything like what we're experiencing right now. In March, we had 589 sales compared to 147 last year. But of course, last year we shut down and we weren't really sure how to go about showing properties. We've got that underway, and it's wonderful how when we go out there with our COVID forms and make sure everybody's safe. So we've been very proud of our organization in doing that. So out of the 589 sales, we had it's a little over $361 million of sales, dollar sales. There was active listings for March. We had 385. Our sales to new listing ratio is 77.5%, which is amazing. Normally, and we had a real good market, like I'll go back to March of 2014, the average was 30.3. So in other words, 30.3% of the listings sold. Now we're up at 77.5. We have 0.7 months of inventory compared to 3.2 months of last March of 2020. That means if we didn't list any more properties in 0.7 months, we would have nothing to sell. So that goes back to our supply and demand basis. And so we have the demand. Their listings are coming on, but they're selling an average day. It's 8 days on the market and they're sold. The average price is $613,000, but the median price is $562,500. And the sales to listing ratio is 111.2%. So that's, yeah, it's crazy out there. So we're still getting multiple offers. If you list the property, especially things that were appraised last year for around 400,000 are selling now for 575,000 type of thing. So it's absolutely amazing. And I thought I knew something, but anyways, it's a matter of if you market it properly, you're going to get top dollar. So there's my.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chisholm. Any questions for John? I'm seeing none. And I'm just finding out from Karen, is there anybody left to speak from our partners this morning?
I think we still have to hear from Doug from the Bay of Quinte Regional Marketing Board.
All right, Doug's going to be brief today. Hi, Doug, take it away.
Chair Kelly, if you'll afford me 2 New York minutes, I'll get through my update. Just, you know, I mentioned this last meeting. So when we look at objective 1 from the EDDC strategic plan, attracting workers to meet Belleville's labor shortages, tough to attract when, to John's point, it's getting pretty unaffordable out there. So I'm excited to say we've got Tony Engelsdorfer from QHBA Board of Directors, along with Ruth, who's with us here today to present to our Bay of Quinte Board of Directors tomorrow about that CMHC study that I mentioned at last month's meeting from March. I'd love to see that on an EDDC agenda. I think it needs to be talked about with respect to supply and demand, although it was excellent to hear Manager Post's point about the growth in new residential permits this month, this year over this month last year. Terrific. Moving on, looking at objective 3 with respect to tourism, 3.2.1, nurturing development of new products. Our spring Bay of Quinte marketing grants, we've got 50K out on the table right now, already over 40 applications to support marketing projects and products through this year. Also, a new program we created, we're taking 10% of the municipal accommodation tax, and we're creating a marketing program with the downtown district, Mary Jo and her team. So it's going to be approximately $30,000 for the downtown district's marketing this fiscal year. So we're excited to implement that. And then looking at 3.4.1, we've been working so far this year with your own economic development department, the chamber, and the downtown district to coordinate how content's created, how assets are collected, things like photography and video, and ideas for the upcoming season. So just trying to drive that storytelling. Thank you.
Thank you, Doug Stevenson. Much appreciated. So next month, you can look forward to a written report, and it'll be easy for the media that are watching, and everybody can have a chance to go back and read it a couple times. And if any of our partners want to get on the agenda to do a speaking engagement, feel free to reach out to us. We'll certainly make that accommodate that for you as well. New business, Manager Post, you have 2 items.
I do have 2 very quick items. I wanted to give the committee an update on the Ontario Immigrant Nominee Program. You may recall that Belleville and Quinte West, Chatham, Kent, and Cornwall were chosen by the province to be locations for a pilot project. The purpose of the pilot project is really to spread newcomers throughout the province. Right now, new Canadians typically settle in the GTA. The objective of the OINP program is to spread those newcomers out, encourage them to consider rural Ontario as a location. We're about halfway through a 2-year pilot project, and I just wanted to give you some statistics. So when the program started, there were 150 openings, essentially, newcomer openings committed to the OINP project, which essentially was 50 per community. The pilot project has gone so well, particularly when it comes to Quinte West and Belleville, that they have increased the number of openings for the OINP to 300. So that's for the full 2-year period. So at the halfway mark, I'm really thrilled to say that for Belleville and Quinte West, we have far more nominations than any of the other communities. So we're really proud of that. The number of applications that have been submitted to date are 113. There's 54 of those in the queue for processing, and 52 of them have been sent on for nomination. So those are folks who have applied to have permanent residency in this region, and 52 of them are being recommended. And it's only halfway through the project, so we've already exceeded the original number of nominations we were entitled to. So that program is going really well, despite the fact we've been hampered in terms of our marketing of that program because of the pandemic. So just wanted to give the committee an update on that. And there's one thing that I don't think we spent much time on before that can have a significant impact on commercial and industrial development. So for many years, the city has been fighting with the Ministry of Finance around the equalization of the education tax rate. So many years ago, if you have had a residential assessment, the province equalized that tax rate. So it didn't matter really where you were in the province, you were paying about the same amount for education. They never equalized that tax rate for commercial or industrial businesses until just recently. The challenge that we faced was that the education tax rate for our businesses was much higher here than you would find in the GTA and some of the other areas across the province. We could never really get a straight answer in terms of why that was. Had something to do with the way school boards were assessed originally. But anyway, in 2020, the province made the decision to equalize the non-residential tax rate across all communities. So for us, there's a significant decrease in the tax rate that businesses will be paying in 2021. So we are finally so pleased to see that the lobbying we had been doing for many years has resulted in an equalization of that rate so that our folks aren't penalized and charged a higher education tax rate than elsewhere in the province. So I just wanted to make sure the committee was aware of that change. When you get your tax bills for 2021, hopefully you will see a decrease in that tax bill because of that change to the education tax rate. And the only other thing I wanted to mention was we talked about the BRE survey. Please send me over the next week, if we could give it a week, send me any of your suggestions for changes, additions, revisions to that BRE survey. We'd love to have your input, and we'll formalize the survey in a week's time and hopefully get it out to business. So that's it, Chair Kelly.
All right, thank you, Manager Post. Anybody else for new business? I got a couple things here. We're in need on the committee to have a vice chair. Proposals will be talked about at the next meeting in May as we move forward to electing a vice chair for the committee. Also, too, we heard about Mary Jo and her new opportunity in Kingston, and I think it's important that we keep all our teammates in the loop on what we're doing. And I noticed Carla Brennan is doing something different now. Carla, you get 35 seconds to update.
Okay. Hi. After 28 years in hospitality, I've moved my passion for the Bay of Quinte over to real estate. So I just started working with Remax Quinte last month, and I'm super excited to be representing Belleville and the Bay of Quinte area for real estate, commercial, and residential.
Well done. Congratulations. Good luck with the profession. Anybody else got something quick for us? All right. The goal today for me anyway was to have the meeting over by 2 o'clock, and I think we've accomplished that. And I want to thank Councillor Bill Sanderson for your first meeting. Quick thoughts. We heard from you off the top after your 92 minutes with us. How do you feel?
Yeah, I'll try and be brief, Mr. Chair. So yeah, excellent first meeting. I was appointed on Monday, and Karen has just been blitzing me with information. So I'm desperately trying to catch up, and I'm looking forward to serving on this committee. It's a great committee, newly formed, with the new council. And man, oh man, there's just so much going on. It's pretty exciting. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councillor Sanderson. Anybody else before we say the meeting date? Anybody want to get on? Any comments? Councillor Alsop and Councillor McCaw? Very quiet today, very quiet. Were the kids up late last night, Tyler?
Well, you know what? Actually, my wife is 36 weeks pregnant with the twins. Okay. And so I have completely surrendered the bed to her. So I sleep on the couch in the basement so she can be as comfortable as possible. So I am not getting a tremendous amount of sleep. I think the only thing I wanted to say, a great meeting. Obviously, congratulations to Mary Jo and moving on to your next endeavors and all the wonderful things you've done for the city. I didn't raise my hand as you were speaking because I think I'll take one of those chair setups. That sounds pretty cool. And so now you're down to 6. So there you go. We'll take some strain off for the last couple of weeks of work for you. So thank you very much, and wonderful meeting, everybody.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor McCaw, you had your hand up briefly, or were you stretching or getting ready to hit the leave button?
I was probably waving goodbye, but no, I'm fine for today. Thank you, though.
All right, thank you so much. Anyway, thank you for the meeting. and your time today. You gave up some important personal time and work time to join us, and we'll see you next May. And thanks to Manager Post and Alicia for all their work